Hi, I'm Andrew Wasson. Thanks for tuning in once again to my guitar blog. It is Thursday, September 8th, 2011. And this time around, we're going to answer a question that was sent in by Angelo. He's from Salt Lake City, Utah. He wrote in saying, what exactly is meant with the terms consonance and dissonance in music? Well, this is a question that musicians have always really wrestled with. Unfortunately, there's no clear answer to it either, mainly because as music continues to evolve, it continues to be more and more subjective to each listener of it as well. But there are some various guidelines that we can use as an explanation, and these guidelines were probably started to get established way back when music that first employed harmony was first appearing, probably around 900 AD, so a long, long time ago. Now, the simple musician's answer to this question is that consonance is a pleasant sound that can begin or end a piece of music. Something like maybe a G major chord. Major intervals tend to be very consonant. Now, unpleasant sounds are what dissonance is based upon, essentially, in modern music, and it calls for consonance. So something like maybe a diminished triad would be considered very dissonant, and it would resolve to a more consonant sound, like a C major chord from that B diminished. So now that's more the musician's answer, essentially. So let's look at another simple approach to this answer that I think is really good. It involves taking untrained, non-musician listeners and allowing them to evaluate various intervals. And what that can tell us is that the untrained listener hears consonants as intervals which sound most like a singular tone, such as a power chord, for instance. So you've got a perfect fifth interval there, and to the untrained ear, it very likely would probably just sound like a singular tone. But dissonance to the untrained ear, dissonance is different. That tends to sound like multiple tones, something like maybe a minor second, where you can hear the varying frequencies in there of the two tones fighting for the same airspace as they bounce between one another. Now, that's a little bit more on the lines of how the untrained ear would hear that sound, even though there isn't multiple tones there. There's only two, just like with that power chord. The untrained ear might think that there was even more than only two notes there. Now, let's move on to my favorite explanation of this, and it's a little bit complex, but I think it's more along the lines, I'd say, almost of how an audio engineer might look at this. It involves the ratio of frequencies between notes of an interval. Now, essentially, the smaller number of the ratio will equate to a more consonant sound, like that perfect fifth. Now, if we go to dissonant sounds, we're going to have a larger number of beat ratio frequency equaling the more dissonant sound, which would be something again like that minor second, where you can really hear the fluctuation of tones. So hopefully this answers Angelo's question, makes some sense, clears up some of the misconceptions about consonance and dissonance, and in a few minutes, hopefully that has sufficed as an answer for a rather complex question. So that's about all the time I have for today. Thanks for watching and for sending in all the great questions. Have yourself a great week, and I'll catch up with you next time. Bye for now.